Hey guys, welcome back to Inspired by Jerica Brachet. I'm glad to have you back in this space. Today I am doing a deep dive walkthrough of the InBetween Tarot. I decided to do this because lately I have truly been in a space of liminality. So much so that after launching my energy healing course last week, I've just kind of really been putting a lot of my energy into learning about transitions. And it really came as, um, it was really birthed rather out of a card pool that I did recently. And when I say recently, I guess it's probably maybe 2 weeks now or 2 weeks ago, where I was working with the Threadbound Oracle and I pulled a card and I got the Train card. And the Train card is about liminal space, transition. And it really hit me somewhere in my spirit because ever since then, I've kind of been obsessed with learning about liminal spaces, not just from a physical standpoint at all, but being in an emotional or spiritual, a very psychological space of transition. And although I had come across the InBetween Tarot previously, and I had seen some walkthroughs, I saw one walkthrough done by the Hermit's Cave. I like his channel and I love his walkthroughs. He has such a beautiful library of decks. But anyway, I had seen his walkthrough and that was what piqued my interest in the deck. But you know how sometimes you can get interested in a deck, but you may not purchase it right away. It's just kind of like, oh, it's a really cool concept, but it doesn't mean that I need it for myself, or maybe you don't see how it could fit into your current library or collection. And so that's basically what it was for me. But when I started researching and really sitting with the concept of liminal space, this deck came back around. And so I was like, oh my gosh, how synchronistic is that? The InBetween Tarot. And I am studying and researching and sitting with what it's like to be in between spaces. You're really in this limbo of, no longer, but not yet. And, in as far as like the etymology with the word liminal comes from the Latin word limen, like Limen, I believe, and it means threshold. And so, as you can even see here in the artwork, when we are in our liminal spaces, there's definitely this place of there's this threshold that you kind of cross through that takes you from where you were and bridges you to, like where you're going. So, yeah, this deck really speaks to the space that I'm in right now. And that is what, inspired me to decide to work with this deck. So yeah, this is the InBetween Tarot. This is by Janine Worthington and Franco Ravioli. And this is a Lo Scarabeo deck. And I think this may be my first Lo Scarabeo deck. I want to say it is. So, I ordered mine off of Amazon and it came in this, pretty big box. But I like the box, it's, oh gosh. Okay. All of that did not, all these black marks, guys, was not on here. This is from me lighting my sage. And okay, I didn't realize I had soot everywhere. So let me clean that up really quick. Hold on. Okay, guys, much better. Unfortunately, I did ruin a little bit of the back of my deck. I'll have to continue trying to clear that off to see if I can get it off. But when I got it, I don't want it to seem like it came that way. It did not. That is just the soot from and the ashes from my saging that I was doing in here earlier. But yes, so this is the box. This is the packaging that it came in, and this was of course in plastic as well. So I did remove that. I did peek through the deck a bit because the concept of this in-between tarot is that the scenes are supposed to show the transition from one card to the next card. So for example, we know that the journey starts with the major arcana, starting with the Fool card. The next card would be the Magician. So the in-between tarot shows what the transition may look like when you have already leaped on your journey with the Fool, but you haven't quite yet transitioned fully into the energy of the Magician. So that's basically the idea of it. So let's just go ahead and open this right up. It has a magnetic flap, which is nice here. And this is what it looks like when we have it open. Beautiful. Looks like the book was done by Janine Worthington. So this is the guidebook. It's a nice size, and the guidebook is full color, guys. Look at that. The pages, I mean, ooh, I am a sucker for a good book. So like just smelling that new book smell coming off of this deck is gold. We'll get back to that in a moment here. And then we've got the deck here. Like I said, I did peek through the cards. So this was in plastic. I have taken the plastic off, and then you just have this paper on the inside. And I do like that it comes with the ribbon that just kind of helps you to pull the deck right out of there. So there is that. And then on the box too, we've got a little bit of a shimmer, kind of glossy going on with the words in between. Hopefully the camera is picking that up. But yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful packaging for the deck. And we've got the cards here. So let's see. Okay, so it looks like just some advertising here with this. And this is just a card. I guess this is just showing the backing. So this is what the backing looks like. And this is nice. It's classy, you know, it kind of has this Renaissance look to it. All right, and then we have the cards here. And we will get ready to get into those in just a minute. First, I do want to go into the guidebook just a little bit here because I really feel like they've done a great job with it. And for those of you that are freaking out with the candle, I'm not as close. The book is not as close to the candle as it looks. Just so you know. But yeah, so here you're seeing an example of how the in-between tarot is connecting the first card with the succeeding card. And so in this example, you see the Emperor, and then this is the in-between card, and then the Hierophant. So you have these really small, subtle borders, which I like. And so you can see the transition here. So it says Emperor on this side, we have Hierophant on this side, and then for the in-between tarot as a deck, this is the Emperor card, which is nice. So Janine talks about basically just how the concept of the in-between tarot sort of came about, breaking the tradition. She does talk about how with these particular cards, you can see other scenes within the card. So the example she gives is the Death card, the Moon card, and the Sun card from the Radiant Wise Spirit deck. And you can see how over here, you can see the scene from the Moon card right here. But you can also see the sun from the Sun card beyond the Moon card, you know, and she talks about how she really likes the way that, you know, those links sort of appear in the cards, and how cool it would be to continue that and continue to show that bridging ability. Then she talks here about the invisible knots, like here where the tail and the head meets, with the snake here. So she talks about that. She goes into the sliding door approach, which is where it wraps back around to start over. So for example, the Fool card, and then you have the World card here, and how with the World card, it wraps back around to go back to being the Fool. And she talks about intuition, using your intuition with this deck. She talks about trying to see the deck without the borders. So here you have the minimal borders that she has, and then you have, you know, what the artwork would look like without any borders at all. And then here she talks about the before tarot and the after tarot, which for those of you that don't know, those decks are a thing. Okay, so the sequence that we're seeing here, this is the Fool card from the before tarot, and then you have the actual Fool from your traditional deck, and then you have the after tarot Fool card that's over here. So she does talk about those concepts as well. Then she gets into the guidelines and understanding the cards. She talks about how life is very cyclic. And so she says, you know, that the major cards are our spiritual stages in life, our unavoidable phases, and they will always feel deep and meaningful. The minor cards being the day-to-day encounters and experiences, and the court cards signifying the people who are involved in our lives. And so she talks about how you're going to see the transition as far as spiraling back around to the majors, or you're going to see one suit spiral around back to the ace within that suit. Hopefully I'm making sense, but she does break that down. You can definitely pause the video here and read that should you choose to. She talks about the use of the elements here. She also goes into numerology. She talks about the astrological associations, which she does mention numerology and the symbology in some of the descriptions of the card. And we are about to see that here. So by the time we get here, there we go. We have a full breakdown. So I love that you get a full page of color with the image of the card on there. So if you're unable to see it, you know, here on the card, you definitely have a huge illustration here for you to look at. And so I love that she talks about the keywords for the Fool. So you're going to get those keywords: adventure and innocence. You're going to get the magician keywords, which is will, skill, and purpose. And then you have the in-between concepts. So when you merge the Fool keywords and the magician keywords, you get the in-between concept, which for this card is a leap of faith into the unknown. And so she goes on to describe the scene that you're seeing in the image. She also talks about the symbology of the card. And again, that's where she's going to talk about the astrological associations, the elemental associations, and then you have the in-between concept down here, which is where you're going to get the most description or interpretation rather of the card. And she does that all the way through the major arcana and into the minors. So here we start to get into the minors, and she does talk about the different suits. So you have cups as the water suit. We have coins as the earth suit, wands as the fire suit. We have swords as the air suit. And she does explain what all that looks like. She also goes into the backstory as far as the setting, because this deck is actually diverse. It's very diverse in different cultures. And so the bottom paragraph tends to talk about that part. So with the cups suit, you're going to see a family that's living in Africa. Let's see here. So for the coin suit, The setting is in London in the late 1800s, and so it's about the suffrage and the emancipation movement that was going on at that time, and how women were realizing how unequal their standing was in comparison to that of the men at that time. For the wand suit, this story, let's see, takes place. Where are we here? Did she say for the fire? Okay, here we go. Yeah, there is a link to the festival. The festival is where people come alive and can be themselves completely. What we need to remember is the spark never goes. It flickers and falters, but then comes to life again in the ace. So I'm definitely curious because she did not give a specific time period for the wand suit. And then for the suit of air, this takes place with Britain. Okay, the occupation of Britain by the Romans. Occupation of another land often meant battle and warfare. And in particular, the British Romans experienced prolonged warfare against the Scottish Picts. War and battle involved mental strength and agility, but they can also signify a lapse into angst and stress. Let's consider the path of the following individual. Very cool. So, of course, the idea here is that we are following the Fool throughout this journey. And so we will get into this, and we are going to be referencing the guidebook frequently because this is an in-depth review, and with this being a very special and specific particular sort of deck, just want to make sure that we are comprehending it the way that the creators intended it. But she does mention in here that you can use it like you would an original tarot if you find, or traditional tarot, if you find that you're having a hard time with the whole in-between aspect. Okay, and then so after all the card interpretations, we have reading with the tarot, reading with the in-between tarot. So she's showing different sort of readings that you can do, single card readings. And what's so special about her single card readings is that really you're still going to get more than one interpretation because you have the card itself, but you are still taking the energies from the previous card and the next card at the same time. So we have the bridge spread. Okay. The next step method. Okay. So the next step method. Okay, interesting. I'll have to look into this one. Looks like it was created by Marcus Katz and Tolly Goodwin of Tarot Professionals. Never heard of that, so I'll have to look into that. And then it looks like you can use the deck for larger spreads. Here they are showing a upcoming year ahead 12 card spread using the Radiant Wise Spirit deck. So, okay, so she's talking about blending decks here, which is cool. Okay, so for those of you that read reversals, there's some information about how to use this deck when it comes to reversals. I do not read with reversals. I feel like 78 cards is more than enough to get the interpretations that I need out of a reading. I do not need an additional 78 interpretations. But, you know, hey, if it's for you, go for it. And then we have exploring your in-between cards. Have a go at entering and exploring your in-between deck. You are now going to start to explore new territory. Okay, so this has to do with a bit about meditating, and then you have next steps, and then you have the author here. This is Janine Worthington. So there's some information on her, which is nice. And then some information on the artist, Franco Ravioli. All right, and then a place to write some notes. So that is a guidebook, which I feel like is actually very lovely. It's just enough information for you to completely understand how to get immersed into the cards, but it's not overwhelming. You know, it's something that I think is what makes this deck pretty beginner friendly. So let's go ahead And let's get into the cards. Let's see. May need to zoom in a bit. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so let's get started with the major arcana. And like I mentioned, we are going to be referencing the guidebook so that we can get the best interpretations with the cards. So starting with the Fool card here, as I mentioned, we have the numerology association here. And then we have, the revolving doors, as Janie so gracefully put it for us. So with the magician, I'm sorry, the Fool and the magician, the in-between concept here is that this card is a leap of faith. The energy of the musician awaits the Fool. Soon he will be presented with the elements he needs to propel forward on his journey. He has made his ascent, and his faithful companion watches him from the cliff where one day he will eventually return. Major cards always represent deep life experiences, and this is one of those important ones. Consider Alice's descent into Wonderland. Once that leap has been made, then often there is no turning back, for better or for worse. So make your decision to jump for all the right reasons, and the tools you will pick up in the Magician card will be all the shinier and more potent for it. Now, I won't read through each explanation, but I wanted to at least start out with that explanation just so we can have can sort of understand, get a feel for how the cards read. She does mention the symbology with this card being the air element. The Fool is the air element mixed with the communicative energy of the planet Mercury from the Magician card. In the background of the card can be seen the challenges and spiritual heights represented by the mountains. The in-between stage of the Fool and the Magician is no mean feat, and combines that sense of free fall where you can feel all the excitement and buildup of energy in the very pit of your stomach. It takes a lot of guts to jump into the abyss. So then they talk about setting the scene. So we can see the Fool leaps off the cliff into the unknown, and we can see the bright sun illuminating the wings. And his chosen mode of flight is this microlight that he is flying with. And from our view, which is on the underside, we can see that he lets his knapsack go, which is representative of his worldly possessions, worldly experiences, and his ego, and is reaching for the blindfold that he's about to take off. And he will be taking nothing else with him on this journey other than his sense of imagination. So that is the Fool card. Okay. Now we have the Magician, and of course the magician transitions into the High Priestess. So the concept here is that in order to make the most of this in-between card stage, it is necessary to put down our tools. And normally the Magician has his tools, right? So it's necessary to put down our tools or our day-to-day activities and to look inwards. When this card turns up to represent our next stage, it will show the pace of life slowing down and focusing inward. The ritual is a powerful tool to recognize those invisible connections that tie us to other people. We are all connected, and this is the connection that brings meaning to our lives. It's definitely a cooling off period for the Magician, right? This is a beautiful High Priestess card. I love seeing this transition from the setting of the High Priestess to that of the Empress. And in the middle, we have this baby that just has the best of both worlds, Father Sun, Mother Moon. And I just love the archetypal energy, feminine energy of the High Priestess and the Empress nurturing, swaddling this baby. through this transition, and we have the butterflies that's reminiscent of this rebirth that this baby essentially is in the middle of right now. So gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Love it. Okay, then we have the Empress transitioning into the Emperor. All right, so not too familiar with this one. Let's read on this one a little bit. This in-between stage shows the opposing qualities of femininity with the Empress and masculinity with the Emperor working together. Okay, I love that. So the Emperor is sharing the leadership role with the Empress, versus what the kids are doing down here. You see the little boy, he wants all the power, and the little girl is like, hey, like, I matter too. And now we have the adults showing a more mature way of combining the energies to work together. So it says, when both of their qualities are combined, it makes for a strong, formidable force. In any partnership, it is inviolable to have characteristics in one person that are lacking in the other person. Very often, we will even seek this out in a partnership, as it ensures a balance and compensates for the qualities that we may be lacking in ourselves. An imbalance in any situation of feminine or masculine energy can often make for complications. It is essential that we strive to achieve and that fine balance in our lives. Whether we accomplish this by joining with another or whether we are able to find those qualities within ourselves, the balance is the important outcome. So you've got the energy of Venus and Mars here, and I really like this. I could see how in a reading, you could get a lot of information here about finding that balance within yourselves, balancing your feminine and your masculine. I love that. All right, here we have the Emperor card for the in-between. And so we are in between the Emperor and the Hierophant. This is the image that we saw on the front of the box, right? So we've got Aries energy coming from the Emperor, that Martian Aries energy, and then we have that Venus energy of Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. That comes from the Hierophant in between. And when I first look at this card, I see like the division between church and state, like the spiritual path and, the more political path, so to speak, But let's see what the guidebook says about this one. When this card shows up in a reading, it will indicate a struggle between the two opposing concepts of rulership and religion. Like I said, y'all, church and state. Both have an aspect of control involved, and there would be an indication that there would need to be some kind of surrender to these surrounding forces in order to progress onwards. Here we see a battle of wills and a letting go of the ego, which is the ultimate prize at stake. I love that. I think that one speaks for itself in a lot of ways. Okay. We have the Hierophant, okay, and this is the transition from the Hierophant into the Lover's card. And I love that. I like the fact that even from the previous card, how we have the sun back here, and then coming from that card, you've got the sun and this continued path that is here in that Taurus energy. That has transferred over. He's gotten it there what looks to be his Torah. And when you look at the prefixes of those words, they're similar, right? Taurus, Torah. Okay, and so, it looks like he's doing some sort of, ceremony, like some sort of mural ceremony or something like that. Let's see, I'll put these over here just to have a little bit more balance on the screen. Okay, let's see. When this card is pulled, it will often come up to show a situation where limitations and restrictions become too heavy and the need for shared communication presents itself. Sometimes when a relationship becomes too limiting, then one partner or both can become unreceptive or emotionally unavailable, and the boundaries of the relationship become blurred. This also does not need to be a romantic relationship. It can be a friendship or working partnership. Any relationship where there is a need for communication and emotional intelligence will show up when this in-between stage is highlighted. Gorgeous. Okay. Nice. Okay. The lovers. So we see the lovers have obviously come together and procreated because we have a child here. And I love how even the trees are different colors representing the yin yang aspect. Even with them in themselves, we have a lighter complected male and a darker complected woman here. And there appears to be balance here because he is yang but has the yin energy behind him. She is yin and has the yang energy behind her. And I like the balance that we see in this card. And they both hold a piece of the chariot in the middle, which is nice. It just shows forward movement, and we know that the chariot is about movement. It can also be about protection, and they are both protecting their child in their own way, which is nice. And looks like they've got that communication under wraps. Communication is good now. Okay, I love this chariot card. So we're transitioning from the chariot to the strength card. And I love that. I love that this warrior is embodying his Leo energy in a way that is a little bit more temperate. He has learned how to control himself. And that is the ultimate strength at the end of the day, is to be able to focus your energy. And that's what the Leo energy is about. With there being 3 fire signs, we have Aries, then Leo, then Sagittarius. Leo is the fixed energy of the 3, which makes it most stable. And I really feel like you can see that with the mountains, that being stability. However, you do have flow here. So there is passion that's there, but it's tamed. Whereas here we had a wildfire. Here we've got these candles that are just a little bit more intentional, still having passion, still having that fire, but in a controlled environment. Strength. Love this. So we're going from strength into the hermit. So we've got the lion here, which I love, so that Leo is still present. The fire from the Leo energy, from the chariot card, is still present, as it's the hermit takes it with them on this journey. Says here that this in-between stage offers the necessary patience that needs to be employed in order to achieve a meditative state. There needs to be an asserted effort to find the right space. Often during meditation, we can encounter difficult things, shadows that need to be addressed and dealt with. There can be painful elements to our past that we may now need to revisit. In this stage, we approach with caution. It can be difficult to commit to this self-work, but it is wholly necessary in order to progress to the next life stage. So with the focus and effort of the strength card, plus the meditation and the patience and going inward with the hermit, together you are discovering your inner guide. And the discovery part is the will that comes from the chariot card. Okay, or the strength card rather, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is a very interesting hermit card. So for the in-between tarot, this is the hermit card. But as far as our revolving door, we are going from the hermit to the will. So all the elements are here, which is nice. The will is luck and the twist of fate. And then for the hermit, again, meditation and patience. As we move from the hermit to the wheel of fortune, it feels as if once more we are stepping off the cliff into the unknown. However, this time we have a feeling of calmness as we do it. In the card, we can see the Fool deep in meditation. So again, the story is the progression of the Fool, and the Fool takes on different personas, which is nice. This reminds me of the what is it? The witches. Oh my gosh, it's totally slipping my mind. I will try to either insert it later, or I may put it at the Witch's Wisdom, the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. That's the one. As far as like the progression of the Fool and taking on the different personas, it reminds me of that deck. So I really love that. Let's see. So we can see the Fool deep in meditation, and around him are his next steps. Such is the energy of the Wheel of Fortune, that we don't know what will happen next. It is all guesswork. Much like the Chronicles of Narnia, where the children open the wardrobe into a different world, those are the choices we have to work with now. When this in-between stage comes around, it signifies a step into the unknown. The wheel promises cyclic change and surprises, but never confirms an outcome. The Fool must choose the next path with wisdom. Oh, I love it. Ooh, I'm going to really enjoy working with this deck. Okay, so here we have the Will, and this is the Will into Justice, into the Justice card. So we know that the Will was about, fate, twist of fate. It's about luck. But justice is about balance. It's about, doing the right thing. And so together, it is a warning to stay alert, according to the guidebook. So, don't let your guard down just yet. It states here that this in-between stage presents a state of curiosity about the choices of man. This stage will make itself known when we are faced with the outcomes of our choices, whether good or bad. So I love that, piggybacking off of the Will and going into Justice, is that you are a result, or whatever experiences that you are having is a result of the choices that you've made, essentially. And we have to be responsible for those choices. So this is the Justice card, going from Justice to the Hanged Man. So this is, we're going from finding balance, reaping what you sow, getting the outcomes that you deserve, mixing in with the reflection and inner reflection that we get from the Hanged Man. And so this is about moving through turmoil and being able to see it from a different point of view. Are you resisting the change, or do you let it be, And so it says here in the book that the Fool has not yet become a reality for the Fool, and the acceptance and altered perspective that will occur with the Hanged Man stage is not yet materialized. So what they're talking about here is that it can be difficult to know how one would experience a similar situation until you have experienced something for yourself. And I like that. Okay, here we have the Hanged Man, and this energy is mixing into leaving the Hanged Man energy, merging with the energy of the Death card. So you talk about transformation, and a big part of that is releasing the ego. And we know the Hanged Man energy can be a lot about releasing what we think we know, releasing our perspectives in order to even usher in something new, having a beginner's mind. And so I like that there are butterflies in here that represents the transformation, and going into death, we're going to burn all of that away, almost like, going into the fire, but then you can rise like a phoenix from the ashes, right? And there we have it. So you've got the ashes left here in the Death card, death mixing with temperance. We've got our angel clouds back there, and you can see the mixing. You can see the alchemy that has taken place because of the death experience that was encountered. And so then that being has now has risen, I'm sorry. Rosen, y'all, Mercury retrograde has risen, and has risen from its ashes, and has transformed into a new thing, which I love. Okay, this is the Temperance card for the In-Between Tarot. So we're merging the energy of Temperance and the Devil here, and we sort of have this Adam and Eve setting that's here. We can see those chains, which we typically see associated with the Death card. And we see this devil figure, a clouded figure, which, you know, we had the angelic cloud figure in this card, and now we've got this devil one here. Our phoenix, you know, it looks like we've lost our way a little bit because our phoenix is heading towards combustion here. So let me see, was there anything, because these next three cards, I believe, definitely link to one another. So the in-between concept for this card, the possibility of straying away from the life path of temperance by giving into the temptation of the devil by taking the forbidden fruit. Okay, so nothing is quite what it seems, and things need to be approached cautiously. So with this one, because they connect, I'm going to put it here so that we can continue to see the imagery. Because now we have the devil card. And isn't it interesting how the devil's eyes are missing? So it almost appears as though we're looking at the back of the devil. Like the devil has turned its back, and that is because people have taken on that energy. You know, the energy presented itself, they ate of it. And so now, you know, basically it's like the devil's work is done right now, because now you've got humans that's carrying on that energy. And now we see this slavery mentality here where we have given up our ability to choose for ourselves, and we have become slaves to a system. It says here in the book that this energy will be felt the most where we have been dealing with negative influences for some time and are approaching a point where we truly need to walk away. This is the point of make or break, where we need to do something positive before the negative situation we find ourselves in gets out of control and takes us over. And so we know that the devil tends to be associated with Capricorn energy. She does talk about that in the symbology, and how earth and fire do work well together in good conditions. However, if put in the hands of the wrong people, it's not looking so good. All right. And then we have the Tower. So now this is, now we're breaking this down. Now the Tower allows all of it to fall to pieces. And then we see the cleansingness that comes with fire. Fire can be very, very cleansing. And a lot of people use fire in cleansing spiritual work. We tend to attribute that to water a lot of the times, and water can be very cleansing, but there is a special alchemical transformation that happens with fire cleansing that's different from water cleansing. I feel with water cleansing, you're just cleansing the container that you're already in, whereas the fire cleansing is a little bit more transformative and a little bit more alchemical. So we can see the mergence of the Tower with the Star card, because we've got the Star of Hope that's here, which the Star card is associated with Aquarius. And Aquarius energy tends to be about enlightenment, from the sense of, you know, that the whole age of information. It's the we know better, so we do better. So we're going from Capricorn energy to Aquarius energy, both being ruled by Saturn, but Capricorn energy being earthly and materialistic, whereas the Aquarius energy is air, you know, so there is freedom done here. So the enslavement that was going on here is no longer, and they are now going towards the North Star. You know, sort of reminds me of like the Bethlehem, you know, the Star of Bethlehem, and that sort of story. So I like that. I truly like the way that those lined up with each other and connected. That was really beautiful. Okay, so now we have the star. The star is merging with the moon. And you can see these ghost-like ships that they have here. So we got our people. I don't know if you guys can tell, but these are the people that, you know, just broke free from the enslavement that they were under. And they're still being guided here by the star, by that Aquarian humanitarian energy. But they're headed towards the moon, and these ghost ships, it's that illusion of not really knowing what's coming, you know. So you've gotten out of bondage, but now what? You know, this is back to that liminal space that I've been talking about, and this is like a liminal space within a liminal space, you know. So these ghost ships are just kind of showing, wait, is it there? Is it not there? Maybe, sort of, kind of. We don't know yet, but we'll see. And then we have the moon card. And the moon card merging with the energy of the sun here. And so we have the fool he's sort of in limbo here. He's enjoying the cleansingness of the moon, but you can see the sun shining through. So there's a balance between sun and moon energy in this illustration. And in the book, it talks about how we can imagine this process as shedding a light onto the situation. So whereas in the moon card, there was a lot of uncertainty and illusion because we can't see things clearly, with this in-between card, we can see that the sun is shedding a light on the situation. It is merging the subconscious with the consciousness of the sun. And so we can be positive and happy because we have more clarity and more clear state of mind. The sun card mixing with the judgment. So we know that the sun card, again, was making things clear. It's vitality, it's happiness, merging with the judgment, which is about atonement and karma a lot of the times. And so we see the concept of awakening. And so according to the guidebook, in this in-between stage, the feeling of security and happiness that corresponds to the sun is now behind us. What lies ahead is the unknown and scary lessons that will be presented with the judgment angels. The corresponding element of judgment is fire. Trial by fire is what will happen in this next stage. In order to pass the test and progress onwards, you need to recall all of the lessons learned throughout the Fool's journey in order to show you have progressed and are ready to move up in the realm of spirit. For a time being, there is knowledge that you are about to be tested, and all you can do at the present is to prepare for the moment. So we're going back into a space of unknown. But I feel the feeling I get from this card is that the unknown is the purging. You like going through another cleansing, if you will, which is really pulling out of you. Now that you have the hope, that hope has given you strength to step into your truest nature. You're really getting that call. And that's what I see in this card, is that call to be you, to be your best self, your highest self. And then we have the judgment card, mixing with the world card. And so this is where we're going to tie up loose ends. You know, any lingering energy or issues that you have yet to release, here's where you want to do that. And we're going to go back to the bases. We're preparing for our final stage. We're shedding anything else that does not serve us or where we're going, and we're leaving it behind as we enter into the world. In the guidebook, it says that with this in-between stage comes the realization that we need to absorb those judgment teachings and prepare for the final step. So then we have the world card, and the world leading back to the Fool here. So we can see the knapsack and everything again, getting ready and to start this Fool journey again. We see there's a seed being planted here, but we also see there are different astrological symbols on this other child's shirt. Let me see. In the guidebook, okay, it's the 4 elements depicted as the astrology signs. So you have an eagle for water, or Scorpio, it says. A bull's head for earth, Taurus. A lion's head for fire, Leo. And a man's head for air, Aquarius. This in-between concept shows the possibility of new beginnings. At this time, we still have lots of questions. Were our choices predestined? Do we get to choose the next step of our development? The seeds that are being planted represents our choices for fresh start. These will eventually form our new pathway, and the cycle will begin again. This card shows that the final stage of the Fool's development has been achieved with the energy of the world, and the journey is about to begin again with the planting of the seed before stepping off to the next adventure. So that was the major arcana, which I really liked. That was good. I really enjoyed that. That was good. So hopefully I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit so that the video isn't too long. But let me tell you, if you haven't already, stop, pause the video for a minute, take a bathroom break, get you something to sip on, maybe some tea, some coffee, or your favorite juice, and get you a little snack or something, and just sit back, kick back, and relax. And we're going to continue deciphering through these cards. So let's do this. Let's see. All right. You guys, I am feeling some type of way that my the soot from the sage has just truly gotten everywhere, because oh my goodness, I just smeared a little bit on my book just now and I'm feeling away. But it's all right. It's all right. Okay, so Ace of Cups. So we're starting with the cups, and this is the ace going into the Two of Cups. And the book talks about basically how the ace energy is represented with the lake and her being in this lake. The Two of Cups energy is the fact that this gentleman is back here. He's been watching her. He is a potential partner or companion for her. And so the lake representing that the infinite possibilities of what could happen here. And the emotional potential that's here. Could this turn into something? Not sure. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Well, it turned into something. So we have the Two of Cups energy going into the Three of Cups. So we know that this couple has come together. They have created a child, and they are celebrating life. They're celebrating their relationship and their family being together, what they've created, that three energy being creation. And then you have the water back there that is representative of the cups energy, the fluidity, the emotions and feelings behind it, the union of mommy and daddy here and their baby, which I love. Three of Cups first. So here the guidebook talks about with the transition from the Three of Cups to the Two of Cups, it seems as though the family is not spending as much time together as they were. We can see that it seems as though they only spend time together when they are in a place of rest. And so you've got the child back here kind of lonely, kind of doing their own thing, and then you've got mom and dad over there sleeping. And so this is just about dropping the ball a little bit and making sure that you are making time for the relationships in your life so that they don't become stagnant. And here we see some stagnation. So from the Four of Cups into the Five of Cups, you have the apathy, the boredom, the loss, the sadness. They're not even talking and communicating anymore. Our sun is gone. We've got cloudy skies. You know, we're upset because we've got some things that have spilled out. However, there is the possibility for reconciliation, you know, but they've got to look up and come out of their own way, of course, in order to see that. Okay, now here, the guidebook talks about there being a woman who has ventured out from her village and being sad because she misses home. And so we have a gentleman that's going to be coming to help her, but she does not see him yet. She's slightly in front of him and doesn't realize that help is actually here, you know. And so you can see that energy being the merging or the in-between of the loss of having left her tribe, but also the innocence of help coming, but you being numb to it because you're just not even aware of the presence of it being there. So maybe this will be something, maybe it won't. Okay, so Six of Cups going into the Seven of Cups, the guidebook talks about here how you have a couple or a man who, or this woman who has discovered this man in this tribe, and they are carrying on an affair. So you can see their community in the background here, but they are sort of hidden behind this rock, right? And they don't think that they are being seen. But then you have the children that's here, and they represent a time where in your childhood, your choices didn't cause big consequences. But as you can see with the kids, what they're doing with their hand, you can see the shadow being cast on that rock back there. Things can get much uglier than what they may initially seem, because when you're adults, your actions have much greater consequences than they do when you are children. So I love the energy from the Six of Cups with the kids and the innocence of that, going into the Seven of Cups of an illusion of you thinking nobody sees you, nobody's watching, or that you don't have to be accountable for your actions and the things that you do. So I love that. In this card, the guidebook discusses how she's been caught, and she is running away from that village because her choices has caused some issues for her. And so you see that Seven of Cups energy being the choices that she made, the illusion that she was under thinking she could get away with it, and then the Eight of Cups, her having to literally flee and move away and take a loss because where is the man? We don't see the man here, so now she's all alone, but the white rose here is a symbolism of hope. So now she's alone, going from the Eight of Cups to the Nine of Cups. The waters are a little bit more still. We have the symbolism of hope here with the sun reflecting onto the water there. And she's getting to a place where she has accepted what she's done. She's healing from that, and she's moving towards, more peaceful waters, and she's really reflecting on her actions and figuring out what her next move is going to be. So she's headed back home, and she's made it home, and her tribe is welcoming her with open arms, going from the Nine of Cups into the Ten of Cups. So she's back. Her wish has been granted, which was to get away from all the troubles that she had caused for herself and to get back into a place of happiness with her family. And so now is a time to celebrate. And now that she's back home, and now we see that the sun is really shining on her, and she's back in a good place. And then you have the Ten of Cups, revolving door, going back into the Ace of Cups. And so here, she's with her family. There is the promise of going back to the water, which is where everything started. Everything started in the possibility of water. And now they're coming back to this place, except this time she has her family with her, and they are going to create new beginnings together that is going to add to the happiness. So the new beginnings of the Ace is adding to the success from the Ten of Cups. And I really like how Janine mentioned that. Okay, let me move this out the way now. So with the Page of Cups, so the guidebook talks about how the fire that you see in the background is a funeral. I wanted to say they called it a funeral pyre, P-Y-R-E, or pyre. And so basically the transition from the Page of Cups to the Knight of Cups is showing going from the innocence of what it's like to be a child and having to grow up, because you're dealing with adult situations, and dealing with death can be a very mature part of life to deal with. And so you see him putting down his doll because innocence is lost now. He can no longer just remain the innocent energy of the page. He's forced to grow up into the energy of the knight and to take on more emotional responsibility. Okay, then we have the Knight of Cups moving into the energy of the Queen of Cups. And so here he is adolescent. He's a little bit more emotionally mature now, still very flighty energy, but because of that Queen of Cups energy that is being introduced here, it allows him to be a little bit more temporal when it comes to his emotions, and he's a little bit more tamed because now he is, he's in a relationship, he's in a commitment now that requires him to again get into the space where you are growing up. All right, and so here he has been chosen as spiritual chief. The water element in the Suit of Cups has a lot to do with our spirituality. And here, going from the Queen of Cups into the King of Cups, he has matured quite a bit. He has a lot more responsibility now, which merges the energy of the Queen and King together. He is stepping into a role of leadership and has a certain degree of responsibility that is required of him. And so then once we get to the King of Cups, this is the King of Cups, but revolving back around to the Page of Cups again. So we see both of those energies represented here, passing that legacy and that knowledge on to the next generation. And Janine talks about in the guidebook how because he's been in this role of leadership for quite some time, he is now offered the opportunity to show a more softer side of himself. And this is being represented by playing with this young child. He is allowed to be a little bit more vulnerable because he has established himself as a leader. He has gained the respect that he needs. And so now he can show another side of himself. So I love that. Couple of cards going on here. So that was the Cup Suit, which I really enjoyed that. I love the storytelling that comes with this deck. I think it's so well thought out and just so beautiful. Hopefully I was able to move through that quick enough. So the Ace of Coins merging with the Two of Coins here. So the idea here is to pick up an opportunity. So we know that the Ace of Coins has a lot to do with material opportunity, and the Two of Coins being about choices. So it's making a choice, making good investments. She talks about how this is a time to recognize opportunity and to move with it, and how it's important to recognize that at this point we are still undecided, but we're at least moving in the right direction. Okay, so Two of Coins going into Three of Coins, we're seeing that the investment of our choices and making our choices, but now we're putting a little bit of action to it with the networking and the teamwork and planning and preparation. And I think that's a good, preparation and planning are good keywords to connect the energy of the Two of Coins with the Three of Coins. And so here you see women that they want their rights, they want the same fairness that the fellow men are getting. And so here is where you want to do your background checks, you want to do your research, you want to do all the prepping and planning before you come out with such a bold statement, or before you really introduce your ideas or something that you want to do to the world. So here we have the Three of Coins merging with the energy of the Four of Coins. And I love the illustration on this because you could truly see that Four of Coins energy in the background. But I can see the hard work of the Three of Coins there too. So you've got the networking and the organizational skills, the teamwork from the Three of Coins, merging with that material security, and the saving, the accumulation of those material goods from the Four of Coins. And so basically in the card is being represented like a boss, like the boss of the factory that they're working in is towering over them. And he wants them to realize that they have to work hard in order to earn their money. And remember, this is sort of what they wanted to do. They wanted to be able to work and have certain rights. And so, he's like, well, you're going to have to work to get this done. But typically in a lot of mills and industrial work, the conditions were very poor. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly where this goes with them having to do such tough work. And we see a little bit of that. We see Four of Coins energy. They're at the feet of this boss here, but it seems as though all of their hard work is being taken away from them. And so the concept here is like being a slave to the system. It's almost like no matter how hard you work, there's never enough money. There's never enough to cover the things that you need. And so you constantly feel as though it's like, what is it all for? You know, you constantly feel like you're at rock bottom, you know. And some people will say, well, at least you have a job, at least you have work. It's like, yeah, but I'm not benefiting, I'm not reaping anything. So here is where we can see a loss of confidence and a loss of self-worth. Now, we have the Five of Coins merging with the energy of the Six of Coins. And so here is where we can see all that hardship. We can see some hope. We can see a light at the end of the tunnel. We can seek refuge. And I love that they have the women's refuge here. So after all of that, there is a place that you can come to where the door is open. The women are standing there waiting to just usher you into this energy to get the help that you may need. And I love that there is a community aspect to this as well. All right, so next we have the Six of Coins. Six of Coins energy going into the Seven of Coins energy. So all that generosity and the refuge that we took from the Six of Coins has empowered us. There is a bit of reward here, a little bit of relief because you have the help that you need, and there's now an opportunity to reevaluate. Like, okay, I've got my power back. Now what am I going to do with this power? Now that I've got a little bit of a sense of achievement, we need to now direct that energy in the right place. Now what can we do now that we've bounced back some? So Seven of Coins into Eight of Coins. So we have these ladies here. They are signing a Bill of Rights. So this is all that hard work paying off. You know, the bill was proposed, and the surrounding ministers and government members, you know, have been mocking this proposal, but these women have been working hard to stand their ground, and they finally are getting what it is that they need, you know. And so Janine talks about how with this in-between stage, it shows you the highs and lows that are inherent when you're in that position. Not everybody is going to be rooting for you. Not everybody is going to encourage you to fulfill your purpose and to really release the things that mean the most to you into the world. Not everybody's going to do that. So if you find that you're back to the drawing board, it's okay. Keep on trying. All right, so Eight of Coins into the Nine of Coins. So this is that hard work energy and that sustained effort, that, you know, keep trying energy, mixing and merging with abundance and being self-sufficient. And so now we're seeing, it looks like this lady is giving a speech to other women. She is amping them up, pumping them up, reminding them of who they are. And so this is showing where you've crossed over that that 7-year itch, you know, that lump, that hardship energy that can come sometimes from the 5 and from the 7 energy. So now we're getting to a place where, awesome, it's the last stand, the last hurrah, where we've made it. And we've made it shown here in the Nine of Coins mixing with that 10 of Coins energy. There is victory here. You know, they have done what it is that they were trying to do. This in-between stage represents itself. This in-between stage presents itself to prepare to celebrate your achievements with others. No longer is this a path of solitary. Stop hiding your light under a bushel and tell the world about what you have done and how you set out to achieve it. I love that. And I love that we have a person of color right here, considering that this time was in the 1800s. And so that's interesting going into the 10 of coins here, because as you can see, it's sort of passing the baton. And I want to read the guidebook on this one, especially we have equality now. A man is now standing on the street podium. He is standing underneath a sign that states equality now. He has been following and inspired by the movement of the suffrages and is starting out his own movement for equal rights of ethnic minorities. By his side stands one of the lead suffragettes. She is offering her experience and will stand by his side throughout this new process. You guys, this is the perfect revolving door scene of taking the energy and how it wraps back around to the ace. And you see how he is holding the pocket watch, which was in the ace of coins. So I love how that energy has come back around full circle. It states that when this card makes its energies known, acknowledge the offer of help and guidance that is extended to you, because they can take all of the history from the other cards that they learned and pass the baton to someone else so that they don't have to start from scratch. And so I love how even with the cup suit as well, we see a leveling up when you're going from the 10 back around to the ace. This is not the same ace energy that this person has started with, but there has been some evolving that's been done, a little bit of a level up to kind of take that energy to the next level. Practical help and assistance is now just around the corner, and opportunities abound for material success, but just as quickly can fade away. Grab the opportunity while you can. So this is going with the momentum. So see, right now, because of the victory here, the town or the community is in a place where they're all for it. The momentum is going, the energy is there. You want to capitalize off of that to keep it going. So it's like, oh, okay, y'all are all about freedom and rights right now. Well, let me piggyback, off of that energy so that I can get some victory and freedom for my people, for the minorities. I love this. This was beautifully depicted. Okay, so Page of Coins into Knight of Coins. So this is the entrepreneurial energy, that excitement of the page, mixing in with the hardworking dependability of the knight. And so this is an introduction into the world of work. And the author states here that when this in-between stage presents itself, we have a child who is having to move across to the adult world and is taking on a period of work, of employment for the first time. So just like we mentioned for the cup suit, we have a child having to grow up. So, this is like that liminal space after graduation. You know how when you graduate high school, it's like, okay, so you're not a kid anymore from high school, but you don't completely feel like an adult yet. You feel like you're in an in-between stage. There's this liminal space of having to leave behind the innocence of your childhood, but then merging into the world of adulthood at the same time. And that can be really difficult. So I love the idea of that. Then we have the Knight of Coins merging with the Queen of Coins energy here. So this is all that hard work mixing in with prosperity, the material comforts, and learning to be self-sufficient. The Coins teenager is now pregnant and working on the production line. She is learning what it takes to be a single mother. So I do like the representation of, because there are single mothers out there, I am one of them. And so I do like that is represented here and not something that you are to shy away from, It may not be ideal, and it definitely can be hard, but that doesn't mean that you should not be represented. And I do like that here. And you do have teen pregnancies. You know, again, it's not the most ideal thing, especially because, you know, our teenagers are still learning how to become adults, as we talked about in the transition of this card here. So it can be a little bit difficult, but again, I like the representation of the real life experiences here. And then we have mommy and her baby. So this is the Queen of Coins. So now merging with that King energy, she's entering more of that crone stage, you know, at this point. So she knows how to be prosperous and have that nurturing and the material comforts, but she is also disciplined now. You know, now she can be a breadwinner for her family. Now she's not doing all of the her hard work that she was working while she was pregnant, you know. Now look, she can take a little bit of a rest to care for her child, but she's still being the breadwinner here. In the book, it says that the movement from the Queen of Coins to the King of Coins shows someone who is now self-sufficient and who has to take on more of a leadership role. She is now working as a foreman in the factory and guiding other people in their roles as workers. So there's leadership here. She also still has to carry out her motherly duties, as there is no one else to help her. This in-between stage shows the ultimate responsibility. The transition is a hefty and demanding one, but one where she can feel ultimately in control of her material existence. All right, the king into the queen. So I like how the coins have become something here. Now we have items that are on the conveyor belt there, and our baby girl has grown up, and her mother is now teaching her the trade. She's passing on that entrepreneurial spirit and legacy. So everything that she's learned, you know, turning an idea and developing it and allowing it to evolve into a manifestation, you know. She is now passing that on to her daughter. She's passing that mantle on. And so it says in the book, you know, she's now an old woman who is looking after her. Oh, this is her granddaughter. Okay, so she's looking after her granddaughter. The old woman is showing the young girl around the factory where she used to work. She is about to pass down her inheritance to her granddaughter. The transition from the king back to the page of coins shows a transference of monetary and practical assistance. The old are assisted by the young, but transversely, the young are also assisted in monetary terms by the old. This in-between stage is the ultimate providing stage, where needs are met or missed. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm really feeling this deck. I am really feeling this deck. And the storytelling, ooh, it's really putting me there. It's really putting me there. Okay, guys, so now we're getting into the wand suit. Okay, so getting into the wand suit, this looks pretty cool. We have the ace merging with the 2 energy. So we've got the energy of creation mixing with choice. So I like that we have the traditional hand reaching out, you know, but she's already getting ready to work with this energy, which is very cool. This in-between stage describes how choices can make us indecisive. The choices that are laid out can be so tempting and fun that it is often hard to decide which one to go for. To describe the energy of this stage would be a feeling of curiousness to see what lies around that next corner and how we will proceed next. Okay, so I want to say, what was the time period, y'all, for the fire suit? I'm sorry, guys. I have the window open, so if you're hearing that motorcycle, I apologize. They never said. We just talked about the festival stuff. Okay, so I guess we will see. We'll see what happens here. Okay, Two of Wands. Oh, yeah, okay. So we got some juggling and stuff going on. Okay, so Two of Wands into the Three of Wands energy. So that choice, that ambition is now mixing with creative partnership and really making things happen. It's furthering the dream, furthering the vision, right? So here we're showing that there is a woman who has made a choice to practice a skill. She is about to be faced with a proposition from a third party, which is this gentleman in the background. So she's juggling the two balls of energy here. He's back there with three wands. The woodland background signifies growth. In this in-between stage, our central character is nervous about joining forces with another person. She's very involved in her craft and doesn't want to share this with anyone. It took a long time to perfect her skills, and there is a bit of trepidation that is shown here. All right. So now we have the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands having joined forces here. And they are moving towards their goal into the Four of Wands. They are heading towards somewhere, which I like because we know that the Four of Wands tends to be about a celebration. So I like that it's taking that voyage that you start from the Three of Wands and showing the transition into getting to that place where you're eventually going to be celebrating. And I like that. So the fairy lights hanging from our Four Wands illuminate the scene, which is electric and full of excitement. They are carrying fiery batons that they intend to use to forge their ambitions. This in-between card illuminates the build-up to celebratory times, that feeling of walking up towards the festival with knowledge that you will be able to explore every tint. It is full anticipation and excitement. Then we're into the Four of Wands. So now we're in a place transitioning that energy in between the Four and Five of Wands. So there is celebration, but as you know, there can be a bit of competition there, a little bit of chaos, because when you have a lot of people in one place and we're celebrating, egos can get involved. And with egos can lead to confrontation, which it usually does. Okay. All right, Five of Wands. Make sure, am I still in the middle of the screen? There we go. Look at these figures back here. So we got Five of Wands energy merging with Six of Wands energy. So the competition, the ego, mixing with achievement and recognition. So this is where you are accepting an award, but doesn't look like you're too happy about it. So in the book, as far as the storytelling, it talks about how the couple is standing in the spotlight at the center of the arena. They are back to back in a defensive position and surrounded by other performers that are hostile towards them. And so this is moving from the energy of competition to the energy of achievement, but there is a feeling of uncertainty and fear, and you can sense that, with the background. This stage presents us with the knowledge that although we should be proud of what we have achieved, there are others who will wish to pull us down off our pedestal. And he just looks like one of, how you can feel sometimes like you feel bad for being successful, basically. And that's sort of what I'm seeing here. And there she is defending their success, not allowing the naysayers and the haters to pull down their moment. He's ready to throw away the things that they have worked for a little bit because you've been caught off guard. You have been attacked. There's opposition that is present. And so in this case, she's got to defend them. You can accidentally bump into somebody. You can accidentally cut somebody off in traffic, and people can just rise up and want to cause issues, and you may have to defend yourself. And looky here, from the Seven of Wands into the Eight of Wands, they have to flee. They've had to flee the festival. Apparently, things have gotten too bad. We know that the Eight of Wands energy has to deal with movement, very fast movement. So they are hightailing their behinds right on up out of there. All right, Eight of Wands into the Nine of Wands. He's tired. He needs a break. But there's still movement, there's still work to be done, and she's back there doing it. She is relighting their batons that may have been dimmed or gone out a little bit, considering the experience that they just had. So this in-between stage is where we're losing the ability to defend ourselves against the pressures that we've been facing. They've been on the run, they've been trying to escape, and now they're really having a hard time, keeping that energy up, because there's constantly attacks towards them. And she was holding it down. Okay, so I'm happy to see that in this card, he has had a chance to rest a little bit from the last card, and now it's his turn. It's the tag team of him carrying the weight for a little bit, because there's burnout here. Look at here. The batons have gone out. They've got this last little bit of hope of energy left, and she is trying to keep that alive, and then he is carrying her to keep her good, and seeking to help each other with the burden that we often see with that 10 of Wands energy, where you are just completely out of it. You're completely over it. And so they continue pushing forward, trying to reserve that last bit of energy that they have. And then we have the 10 going back to the Ace. And so here, this woman has endured such a prolonged period of hardship. She's getting her fire reignited now. There is help that is on the way that has lit up her baton again, and now she has been regenerated. She is reignited to be able to start her journey all over again. And then there is a reappearance of her old friend here. It says in the book that this in-between stage is the gift of energy can be a complete surprise. To feel reinvigorated enough to start again is surely a gift from the gods. Expect to be taken by surprise with a turn of events. Things are about to look good and go in your favor. Smile and don't forget to be thankful, because these opportunities don't come around too often. So I love that, just when all hope was lost, she was able to get reignited from the gods. Okay, so Page of Wands. Okay, so this is going from, again, that page energy into the knight energy. It's the childhood stepping into the adulthood theme again. And it's so funny that earlier I mentioned graduation, because this is a graduation ceremony, which is so cool, guys. I have not seen this card, so it's funny to see that. But look at her dad, or what I'm assuming is her dad, waiting to pass the baton. Dad is like, yeah, graduation is over. Get your butt on down here so you can take on this mantle and get ready to carry it. Oh, God. Y'all, I'm laughing because that's really how it is in life, for real. All right, so now we have the Knight of Wands energy transitioning into the Queen of Wands. And so let's see, we're taking that adventure and inspiration from the Knight, action-oriented energy, and combining it with that confidence and passion that tends to come with the Queen of Wands. And so the book talks about how the Knight of Wands is now traveling in foreign lands. She has helped to build a school and is working as a Red Cross member. She stands proudly in front of the establishment that she has created. It was the energy of the Knight that propelled her into the scenario she finds herself in now. But it is the staying power and passion of the Queen that will ensure that the project is not half done. And I love that. This in-between stage we find ourselves in is settling down and doing something that we are passionate about. The initial excitement is still with us, and we are planning to continue it into the long term. All right, and now we have that Queen of Wands energy mixing with the King of Wands. And so here we have the confidence and the staying willpower from the Queen, And it is merging with that of the energy of the king, which is about being that courageous leader. And so she is now the director of the Red Cross unit. And she is looking at a model of the next structure that is going to be built for this particular cause. And so she will be now directing a group of people who are now looking up to her and looking for her guidance and her leadership. So I love that. And then, of course, we are going to go from the king into the page energy. So she is now showing a child around the school that she built. She is the director of the organization and moves around from unit to unit in order to inspire the next generation of helpers. So these kids, graduation, you're getting ready to step into this world that she has created, and she's leading the next generation into being able to walk into that confidently. And I like that. All right, so that was the Wands suit. Now we are in our last suit, which is the suit of air, the sword suit. And we are starting off with the Ace of Swords into the Two of Swords. So I love how we can show the ace energy with the single sword, but then you also have that cross in the background and the moon symbolism. I like that. We've got the air symbol that is carved into this rubble here. It says here that the Romans who are residing in Britain are about to go into battle with the Scottish Picts who live in the Highlands. A Roman captain is taking up his sword in readiness for battle. The sword he is picking up is representative of the Ace of Swords, which is about new ideas and a fresh start. He is about to join forces with his fellow soldiers who represent the Two of Swords, challenges and difficult decisions. In this in-between stage, our captain is torn between staying still or moving forward. It is easy to stay behind in the planning ideas stage than there is to lose. What is difficult is pushing forward with difficult mental challenges. So here is where we find courage and spirit. All right. So Two of Swords energy mixing with the Three of Swords. So here the captain is now leading his army of Roman soldiers into the Scottish lands. And so the focus of the card here is on the sorrow of the loved ones. Because remember, Three of Swords, we talk about loss. And so him fulfilling his duty causes him to leave behind his loved ones, his family, his woman here. He's having to leave her because duty calls. But look at him. So he misses her too. The Three of Swords energy merging with the Four of Swords. So he's taking time to write her. He's in a place of rest right now where he has taken off his helmet. Right now, he's not operating in the role of captain. He's operating in the role of partner or spouse or husband. So he is taking the time to write back to his family. And you can see that, there's a little bit of pain here, but at the same time, he is resting. So now we see the Four of Swords and the Five of Swords. And so here, the Romans are unknowingly about to come under attack because he's been resting. He's got his swords down. And the Scottish Picts defeated them and have broken their formation. Unbeknownst to the soldiers, they have been betrayed by one of their very own who left to inform the Picts of their arrival while they slept. And I like that because that represents betrayal, right? The Five of Swords is about betrayal. And so one of the captain's own soldiers betrayed him. And as a result of that, a rude awakening. So, unfortunately, he didn't get to wake up from his rest to something good. It's a rude awakening for him. Oh, wow. Look at this. Five of Swords into the Six of Swords. Look, we've got a broken sword here with the white flag, which usually means surrender when you see that white flag. I'm going to read the guidebook on this one. So the moonlight in this card illuminates the scene of a battlefield. Many of the Romans have been killed or left for dead. The focus here is on the captain, who is the only one who was able to escape and is moving across the water. The betrayal that took place has now been laid bare, and the captain is in possession of full facts. It is too late for him to go back now. All he has now is his forward movement, unknowing where that will take him. In this in-between stage, it reveals all to the person who is experiencing it. Every thought and deed is exposed. Wow. The realization is painful, but useful to push us on to forward movement and to take us away from what is hurting us. Sometimes this wake-up call is just what we need to get us moving. Oof. Okay, so 6 of Swords into 7 of Swords. So here we know that the 6 is about escaping and leaving things that no longer work for us, or getting out of situations that have caused us mental anguish so that we can move forward. But then the meeting that 7 of Swords energy, which is about things not being completely clear, things maybe not being what they seem to be. He doesn't even have a whole sword here. He's got this broken sword. He's hiding behind this log because he is being pursued by the Scottish Picts. You know, they have been chasing him, following him this whole time, but now he is alone. He does not have a team or an army behind him anymore. And so he is immersed in the water representing emotions here. And so this in-between stage is about our thoughts and emotions being intertwined. The active escape there is very real. There is a very real need for the help of others, but unfortunately he is alone in an unknown place. This stage will present itself when we are feeling unsettled and we have not yet decided on a plan on how to help ourselves from the difficult position that we are in. So what is he going to do? Okay. What has happened here? So the Roman captain is being pursued by, I'm sorry. Wait, that was wrong card. Okay, the Scottish Picts are moving down to head off the Roman captain who is trying to escape and move away. The captain is not free yet. The Picts are about to capture him for further downstream. The feeling in this card is one of waking forward to entrapment and capture. So unfortunately, he's going to be captured. So you have the self-interest breaking free, the unknown energy of the 7 that is meeting the 8 of Swords energy, which we know is about entrapment and feeling caged in, right? So 8 of Swords into the 9 of Swords. So he's been captured. He's tied to a post. He's surrounded by the Scottish Picts. And let's see. He is, he's about to be sacrificed, it looks like. The Picts have surrounded the captain, who is helpless and is about to be sacrificed. For someone who is usually so strong, he feels broken. This in-between stage brings a feeling of numbness. He now knows there is nowhere to escape. So this in-between stage, we've hit a true low point and we really feel trapped and lost. There is anxiety and painful thoughts, because remember, this is all mental at the end of the day. So, you know, this is sort of the calm before the storm, so to speak. 9 of Wands. Oh my. 9 of Swords. I'm sorry. 9 of Swords going into the energy of the 10 of Swords. He's drawing his last breath. He's been struck down by the Scottish Pict King, and he's on the floor dying. You know, you can see his sword, which is lying. It's broken. It's discarded. This in-between stage is where we feel the end of pain. You know, there is calm because you literally can't do anything else but lay there. But the question is, you know, we are accepting of what has happened. And so now we're just reaching for that next stage. We're looking for some culmination here. So we have the Ten of Swords, revolving door, back into the Ace of Swords. And it says here that the dead captain's wife is being given the news that he was killed in battle. She is now released from her own pain of having to await all these months for communication she feared the most. Although she is heartbroken, there is also a feeling of relief that now she knows she can begin to move on with time. The sword is lodged in the stone, waiting for the next person to come along and pick it up. A butterfly flies past, indicating a fresh start and new beginnings, and a change to come in the lives of those who are affected by death. This in-between stage shows the presentation of options, the choice to stand still or to move on. There is a feeling of lightness and a weight lifting off the shoulders. Now, I will say what I like about both the swords suit and the wand suit for this deck is that it shows that not all happy endings are going to be like what you see in the coin suit and in the cup suit. You know, sometimes people do die. I like the fact that, you know, I don't like the fact that the captain died. I don't want that to sound like weird, but I do them going ahead and representing a true loss. You know, it did not work out well, but it doesn't mean that that is the end all be all. You know, life does go on, you know, and the wife, she will have to go on, you know, but she does find some sort of comfort and completion in the fact that she no longer has the anxiety of worrying about her husband and if he's okay and when he's coming back. It's like, okay, he's gone, you know, at least he's okay now, as far as being in a better place at least, and she can just kind of move on with her life. And sometimes that's just how life is, you know. Okay, Page of Swords again. So we know Page going into the Knight energy, Page of Swords into the Knight of Swords energy. We know that this is about that growing up. That's been the theme that we've seen throughout the deck. So that curiosity and self-expression from the Page, mixing with the challenge, that challenging energy that can come with the Knight. We're showing a young Pict, so a young Scottish Pict here, is undergoing a coming of age ceremony, a rite of initiation. You guys, the synchronistic moment right now, there is a book that I have been reading as far as doing work about, you know, liminal spaces and everything. And there is a book that I was looking into, and it's called The Rites of Passage by Arnold van Gennep, I think is how you say his name. But it looks like this. I'll show you guys real quick. Okay, and this is in the Apple bookstore, right? You guys, he talks about rites of passage in that book, and I have been looking at it because he talks a lot about liminal space. And so it's really interesting to see this Pict going, you know, undergoing a coming of age ceremony, a rite of initiation, which is a liminal space in itself. So he is being painted with the tribal colors. The move from the Page to the Knight is a very distinct one. He is now being presented with his first challenge. He will use the skills he has learned from others to fight and to defend his tribe. But before he moves to the position of the Knight, he must go through a ceremonial process which marks that transition. This stage is not just linked to tribal ceremonies. It can apply to someone just about to leave school and progress into college. Again, that after graduation space we talked about, right? The learning goalposts are now higher and more intense. When you pull this in-between stage card, you will feel a heightened sense of excitement. Be prepared for a big learning curve and take advantage of the calm before the storm. Oh my gosh, love it. Okay, so the Knight of Swords merging with the energy of the Queen of Swords. So in this card, this teenage Pict is trying to teach his younger brothers and sisters with the absence of their parents. So their parents are gone, and it's up to him to carry on the traditions and to continue to teach them about their culture. And so this is a little bit more of the turbulence of the night energy mixing with the calmness and stillness that we tend to find in the Queen of Swords. The wisdom is coming through here as he is progressing and heading more towards that Queen of Swords energy. So here we see a transfer of knowledge. All right, so here's the Queen of Swords energy merging with the King of Swords. So we're mixing the experience of the Queen with the power and authority that comes with the King. And so here we see that he is an adult now. He is defending children that are being attacked from another tribe. He has been given the temporary role as protector and leader in the absence of the king. Since the king is not there, he has sort of taken on this role. And the very last card, we have the King of Swords, which is the King of Swords energy wrapping back around to the Page of Swords. And so we see that power and authority blending with the curiosity and newness of the self-expression of the page. And so he is now the pit king. He's now the new Scottish pit king, sitting on his throne, but he is dying. He's getting older. And so he's passing on the ceremonial sword to his son. And through him, the knowledge of the tribe is going to be passed on. And I love it that Janine refers to knowledge because, again, the sword suit is mental. So I love that he's passing on the wisdom and the teachings over to the next generation, which is his son. The move from the King of Swords to the Page of Swords is a return to the start, but with the retention of the experience and knowledge that was accumulated before, right? So this journey all the way up until this point, that is what's going to be passed on, sort of like what we spoke about with the coin suit, about not having to start from scratch. You're taking everything that you have learned, and that's what you're passing on as far as legacy, so that the traditions and the values can be kept alive. This in-between stage will show up when a specialist skill or knowledge base has been exhausted. It is time to move on to something new, or even just add a new topic to your CV or your skill set. You guys, this was so good. This was good. I really enjoyed this, you guys. This deck is awesome. It really is awesome. And I've really enjoyed going through it. I love the symbolism. And I love the storytelling, because that helps to put a lot into perspective. It's just a beautiful deck. And all the synchronicities that I got, like I said, guys, you know, sometimes you will eventually find when it is the right time for you to do something. Like I said, I have seen this deck. I've seen walkthroughs of the deck, but it's through having my own experience of the walkthrough with you guys that all these synchronicities hit. And these synchronicities would not have hit the same if I had acquired the deck before it was time for me to. The fact that I am now in a space of liminality and researching and reading into it and learning about it, really getting lost in this topic is what led me to this right here. And that's why the synchronicities are as strong as they are. And it just would not have been the same if I had gotten the deck too soon. So you guys, I am highly recommending this deck. The storytelling is great. I love the idea of being in between cards and showing that transition. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't even remember how much I paid for it. I want to say it was less than $20. It may have been 20, somewhere between $18 and $20, I think is what I paid, but totally worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough. I know this one was quite lengthy, but I really wanted to dive deep into how this worked, and I love it. I cannot wait to work with it. Oh, I did want to shuffle and see what that looks like. So let's do that really quick before I wrap up this video. All right. Okay. Okay, it has a nice shuffle. Again, this is my first Little Scarabeo deck, so initially I was a little bit worried about the cardstock, but it looks like it's good. It actually shuffles decently. When I compared this deck to another tarot deck, the cards are a little bit more narrow, which is fine because for me, I have small hands, so it actually just makes it a little bit easier to shuffle. So they are a little bit more, you know, slim. But I like these. This is nice. Oh yeah. This is good. So yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to break them in just a little bit. There's some stiffness. Yeah, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. So guys, that is it. That is the In-Between Tarot. I definitely recommend it. Definitely need to get it. If you're thinking about getting it, do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you are interested in energy healing, again, I have released a course that you can take about that. And I have all of the information in the Why Energy Healing Matters video. So definitely check that out if you are interested. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Ta-ta for now. Bye, guys.